8:30 in the morning. Got a bit of a late start on this. The eggs coming up to temperature. I've got a good fire going below the plate setter, but pretty much shut everything down, letting it gradually get up around 225, 250. Want a lot of the heavy smoke to burn off as well. Here's how I have the inside set up. You can see I put a drip pan underneath, and then the brisket will go right in here. So let's let that get up to temperature, and then I'll be back to put it on the egg. Okay, last night, if you saw my other video, I trimmed and rubbed the brisket, and then I wrapped the whole thing on the cutting board and put it back in the fridge overnight. That helped me with prep time this morning. Didn't have to get up quite as early, and also lets brisket get cold again, which is going to react better with the smoke for a nicer smoke ring. I'm going to go ahead and unwrap this now. So there's my brisket, and I think I'm good with that much rub. I don't really like to put too much on it. I want to be able to taste the meat too. So yeah, just a review from the last video, trimmed out all the fat through here, tried to get as much rub in as possible. Even going around, really trying to separate out that point from the flat. The flat's going to be taken off and cut, and the point's going to be cubed and made to burnt ends. Okay, I've got the egg ready to go, and I'm going to put the brisket on. So this is always a trick because the brisket's going to be a bit larger than the egg. I'm using a large egg here. So basically I just kind of smush it in, bend it up a little bit. It's going to shrink as it cooks. The other thing I should note is that the fire's lit directly under the plate setter. I light it in one spot. I use a MAP torch. It takes no time to do it that way, and I don't like having it on the sides because then you're gonna get flare up on your meat. So let's see if that closes. There we go. So the egg, it's got the brisket in. The temperature is going to drop pretty significantly because it's just open and just put a big cold piece in. It was at around 200, and it'll get back up. Yeah, 200 in the dome is probably around 220 or so at the grade. I'm not using probes, and I'm not using Guru or heater meter or anything else to stoker any of this. I'm not using any of those devices for this cook, and we'll see how it comes out. It's going to be a while before I even take a look at it. It's about 8:45 a.m. now. We're holding just around 200 right now. I opened it up a little bit more. It's about 49 degrees out, and I just put it on. This is about 5 minutes later. It's about 10 to 9 in the morning. One thing I didn't mention is that I placed it in fat side down. I talked about this in my last video. I place it fat side down because, as you can see, it's going to drip into that drip pan. Otherwise, the whole thing about it basting the meat while it cooks, I just don't buy into it with an egg. That may be true with other cookers, but with an egg, it retains plenty of moisture, and this way all your rub's not getting washed away. There's really no reason to rub fat, since it's going to melt and just drip right off. The rub doesn't really stick to it. I'm not using any kind of mustard or anything. It's just rubbed directly on the meat. So anyway, I want to mention that as well. Now remember, when you open up your egg, you always want to burp it. but it's over 400 degrees, and I just make that assumption when I've got it, even with the plate setter, because that fire down below is going to be really hot. So here's what we're looking at now. And this is 3 hours in. And about 156 degrees. You can see there's plenty of drippings down there. Keep that about like that, barely anything. Now if I come down here, barely open. Okay, so 9 hours later, we're at 195. And here's the final product. And the way I take it off, rather than trying to pour it up and having it get all, fall apart on me or anything like that, is I'm going to use my pizza peel. I can do that, and you can see I'm doing it one-handed even. Just pulling that back on. Slide the meat. And there you have it. A little bit of fat left, plenty of drippings. Let's go slice that up.